98FM's Dublin Talks. Call 6797 981.
And good morning from Adrian Kennedy. How are you this morning? All good? It's Wednesday, it's nearly the end of November, it's nearly December. So is that good or bad? It depends on how you view Christmas. And in fact, talking of Christmas, a little bit later on in the programme, I'm going to be asking you if you are from a large family where lots of Christmas presents cost you an absolute fortune every day. If you are that person, I want to talk to you a little bit later on to find out the extra pressure that is on you. And whether or not it is mean of a family to decide, look, we're not all going to give each other Christmas presents. We're going to spread it around and we're going to do a Chris Kendall thing where everybody gets one present. Or is that just the height of meanness? We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But first off on the programme today, for the second day in a row, farmers have brought Dublin to a standstill by driving their tractors through our city centre. There's now talk that they could target the M50 later today. And believe me, if they do, you can expect absolute chaos in the evening commute home this evening. If they do. Now, we don't know if they are doing that yet. The unofficial action is disrupting the morning commute for thousands of people, particularly those coming in from the south side. Now, we don't want to touch too much detail the reasons for this unofficial dispute. It basically boils down to beef prices. That's what it's all about. And this has been going on for a couple of months, but they've brought their protest right here to Dublin. The independent group of farmers behind the protest demanded a meeting with the Minister for Agriculture, Michael Creed, to discuss their concerns. The group wants better prices for cattle and said government needs to do more for rural Ireland, which it said is in crisis due to unviable farm enterprises. Let's have a listen to some audio. This will give you an idea, if you haven't been keeping on top of this story, this will give you an idea as to how lively the protest was yesterday. This is from a video that appeared on YouTube, and it is farmers trying to get their tractors off Merrion Square and up to the back of government buildings. So have a listen to this.
The Garda stopping the tractors going on the road. Stop screwing the farmers!
Backbone of the country!
They have every right to be on the road! Get out of the road!
Get off the road!
Get off the road!
Come on, off the road!
Get off the road!
On the road!
Come on, boys! Hey! Come on, the farmers! Come on, the farmers! Give you an idea as to what this protest is like. That was yesterday afternoon, but the protest remains in place, and 98FM's reporter Casey O'Riordan is at Kildare Street right now. Casey, what is the latest?
It's been all go here, Adrian, and the latest is, I suppose, from the farmers had agreed that they would leave when they met with Minister Michael Creed, the Agriculture Minister. Now, the Minister came down to the picket line this morning informally to meet with them. They weren't happy with that. They wanted more of a formal meeting. So he did invite 5 of them in. 5 representatives were elected to go and meet the Minister of the Department. That meeting has been and gone. But the farmers here are still not happy with the outcome and are saying that they will not be leaving Dublin City anytime soon.
So what exactly are they looking for? This is a kind of a them and us situation. Unless you're a farmer in North Dublin, the average dub hasn't really a clue what this is all about.
Well, I suppose it is quite complicated. It's to do with beef prices. And as you know, we had a lot of blockades at meat factories all over the country during the summer. That was all kind of settled with a few kind of terms and conditions. So a beef task force was supposed to be set up. But injunctions that factories put on protesting farmers had to be dropped. So all of them but 2 have been dropped. And that's what this focuses on. 2 injunctions remain by 1 factory. So 2 farmers are still can be pursued by this factory. And so farmers basically aren't happy because A, 2 of their farmers can still be pursued legally, and B, it means the task force can't get up and running, which in turn means that they can't start getting paid more for the price of their animals.
Okay, so they demanded a meeting with the minister. The minister met with them as they requested, but they still haven't left. So what is going to happen now?
Yeah, well, the minister, I suppose, upset them yesterday. He made comments in the Dáil about how the factory that is at the centre of this is called C&D Foods. They're based in Longford, and they have not dropped 2 injunctions against 2 farmers. And the reason they haven't is because they're technically don't come under the umbrella of Meat Industry Ireland, because they're actually a factory that produces dog and cat food. So the factories that are under Meat Industry Ireland did drop the injunctions, but this C&D Foods haven't. So that's what it kind of centres around. So Minister Creed basically couldn't tell them in the meeting that he could get these injunctions lifted. So they're not happy with the outcome because nothing has really changed. They have, now the 5 that did meet agreed that they would leave, but it's independent farmers. So while some farmers are happy to leave after meeting with Minister Creed, there's other farmers here that the 5 came down to the picket line after meeting with Minister Creed to relay to the other farmers that were there what was going on. But they were just roaring and shouting. They're not happy that basically these injunctions haven't been lifted and this task force isn't set up. What the farmers that met with Minister Creed agreed was that they would leave and that the task force had to be in place by the 15th of December, and if not, they would be back with 10 times the amount of tractors on that date. Busy Christmas shopping, it would really be a disaster at that stage. So the reason they're not leaving is because they basically haven't got what they wanted today, which is what they really want to see.
So are they going to stay until they get what they want?
I mean, that's what they're saying there. But, as I said, there are some farmers that say they will go, but there are other farmers that say they're going nowhere. So it'll just remain to be seen. I mean, I can still see dozens of tractors there. I haven't seen any movement as yet, and this meeting has been over an hour.
Now, there was some talk of them moving this protest to the M50. Have you heard anything in that regard?
Yeah, before kind of it all kicked off this morning with Minister Creed arriving down, I was kind of sniffing around for a bit of information about being moved to the M50. I'm not sure that was necessarily the plan to park cars on the M50. I know that up to 40 tractors were trying to join the protest in the city centre this morning, but they were being blocked by Gardaí at the M50. So I think they potentially were trying to come down the M4 and come across the M50 to get into the city, but they were being blocked by Gardaí. So there could have been more tractors here today. At the moment, I don't see any kind of plans for tractors to arrive on the M50 and park up. I think they're still very much focused on being in the city centre and being outside the Departments of Agriculture and the Dáil.
Okay, now earlier on this morning you spoke to a number of commuters, and let's just have a listen, Casey, to what they had to say about how they were affected.
I knew this was happening, so my normal bus, I didn't get it.
Right, so you actually had to change your route?
Yeah.
Okay, and how did that work out then for you?
Okay, I was just chatting to some of the farmers in having breakfast, and you'd kind of would identify with their concerns.
Do you support what the farmers are doing here?
I support their thoughts. I think blocking up the city is like this, isn't on.
Why do you think that now?
Because it's bad enough in Dublin trying to get around without this. All I'm worried about is getting home later on.
Buses just aren't stopping. A lot of them are already full, and then we get in. There was about maybe 20 minutes delay on the journey on the buses, so it was more so just traffic held up and cars driving in bus lanes as well, so a bit hectic.
So how late are you for work right now? Are you in a panic?
I'm about 50 minutes late.
Were you delayed or impacted at all as a cyclist with the tractors blocking so many streets?
No, actually, I just had to be diverted up to Pearse Street. Usually I would come up Dawson Street, but it's only added maybe 2 or 3 minutes to my journey.
Okay, now, Casey, the important thing is that those protests remain in situ, and we can expect, at least for the remainder of the morning, continuing traffic disruption.
Yeah, well, it remains to to be seen. I mean, they could just up and leave. They could decide to wait it out. It's been a very fast-moving story this morning, that the minister has come down and met with them so quickly. Maybe they will decide to leave. But at the moment, in the last hour that I've been speaking to farmers, they're still very angry with the outcome of that meeting and have no intention to leave. And remains to be seen whether that will change over the course of the day.
All right, well, Casey, we might talk to you again before the end of the programme this morning with the latest. 98FM reporter Casey O'Riordan is live at Kildare Street. Thanks very much indeed, Casey. Let me read some of your messages that have come in about this and about bringing the south of the city to a standstill. Fair play to the farmers. They're only fighting their corner. Tell people how much money they're wasting on putting their new printer in storage. Oh, this is the politicians. This is in Leinster House. The voting machines in storage. When people get out and protest, the government back down. We bend over and take too much rubbish from the people in charge. Another message says, how come these farmers haven't been arrested for driving on the motorway? A danger to other road users. That's just 2 offences. But I guess their sons and daughters are Gardaí, so that won't happen. Oh, yeah, okay. Another message says, fair play to them. With all the moaning and complaining we as Irish citizens do, we never get anywhere. These guys are making a bit of noise and it's being noticed. And it directly affects me as I deliver around the city centre. Unfortunately, it's affecting us in Dublin, but that's the price we pay for living in the capital city, says that message. And one more message here. Where is it? Oh, no, sorry, no more message. Okay, there you go. Thank you very much indeed. Oh, sorry, one more. I support the right to protest, but beef prices is not the big issue in Ireland right now. The worsening homeless crisis and increased racism and xenophobia in Ireland is the big issue. Not if you're a farmer. Anthony, I will say to you, if you're a farmer, this is your big issue that you want dealt with right now. Anyway, a lot of people affected by the severe traffic disruption, particularly coming in from the south side of the city today. As Casey said, no sign of that changing anytime soon. But if there is any developments, if the farmers pack in their protest, we will let you know. Let me just squeeze in a quick call. John, you're on 98FM. How are you, John?
Hi, grand on the matter.
Good, John. What did you want to say on this?
Why are people, why is the government subsidising farmers? If I have a business and I can't afford to support myself or my family on it, I fold it and get a proper job, get a new job that can't afford it. 80% of all beef is exported, so it's not for the Irish people they're farming.
I know, but it is for the Irish people as well. That's the point. And the fact of the matter is that the prices that are being paid by the big supermarkets, by the multiples, is just not sufficient to keep them in business, essentially.
So then go bust. Get a new job.
But then how do we eat? Do you know what I mean? This is
I'm sure
this is more than just a business. This is actually food for Irish people as well.
20% of it is. I'm sure there are still farmers that have big enough farms that can make money off it. It's the smaller farmers that are getting subsidies that can't afford it. So fold them.
So just let them go out of business?
Yeah, get it the same as if it was a shop. You wouldn't have to go and propping up Duns or Super Value. They provide food for Irish people. So why are the farmers getting these subsidies?
Okay, so you don't support the farmers protesting. You don't support them jamming up the city with their tractors.
No, let them put up their prices, and if no one will pay for it, they'll be left with a load of rotten meat, and then they'll go bust.
Okay, all right, John. Thanks very much.
They know the prices.
All right, you see, here's the bottom line. I don't think a lot of people will be happy to pay significantly higher prices for their meat. And that's what this all comes down to. Let me just squeeze in a WhatsApp voice note from Al.
One of the farmers saying that they're not going anywhere and they'll stick around, and if they have to, they'll go into the Shelbourne for their dinner every day. You can't be that broke if you can afford dinner in the Shelbourne every day.
Yeah, okay. All right. I'm sure they're not that broke, but anyway. All right, thanks very much indeed. We will keep you Updated on any further developments later on in the programme. If the farmers move off or if they decide to move to the M50 or whatever, if they're that unhappy, we will keep you informed, because it is us Dubs that are the ones that suffer as a result of protests like this. And like the message said earlier on, and they're right, I suppose, that is the joy of living in the capital city of the country. Anyway, there you go. Thanks very much indeed. Now, next on the programme. Oh, yeah, here is another topic that we've never discussed on the show before. Yet for most people, especially parents listening, who have had a baby at some stage in their life, this is a conversation and a debate that has come up between both parents. When the baby is born, the baby generally sleeps in the bedroom with Mammy and Daddy in a Moses basket or a crib or whatever. But at what stage do you take the baby out of the bedroom, put them in their own room, and let you get on with your life? If you know what I mean. For mothers, it can be a very difficult time. The thoughts of separation after sleeping beside the baby for months on end. And it's something that mothers and fathers tend to disagree on. When to let the baby leave the room and go into their own room. Now, during a topic that we were discussing yesterday on the show, we got a WhatsApp voice note, which I'll play for you in a couple of minutes. And basically, the baby is 9 months old. The father wants the baby moved into its own room. But the mother, who left the message, which I'll play straight after the break, is none too impressed. At what age do you move the baby out of the room? We'll take a quick break. We'll take your calls in just a moment.
The sound of the city, from Blackrock to Ballyfermot. Dublin Talks. 98FM's Dublin Talks.
Wednesday morning, this is Adrian Kennedy. This is 98FM. Now, if you are a mammy or a daddy, you can definitely relate to this message that I'm about to play for you. During a topic we were discussing yesterday, this WhatsApp note came in from a listener who's going through a debate with her partner at the moment. Her baby is 9 months old, and Daddy wants the baby moved into her own room, but Mammy, who left the message, says this is way too soon. 9 months old. Have a listen to this WhatsApp voice message which was sent in to us yesterday.
It's a bit of a predicament I'm having now at the moment with my husband. We have a baby girl. She's just gone 9 months. It's our first baby, and basically we're debating on whether or not she should go into her own room. Like, I'm not ready, I don't think, to put her into her own room because, you know, I like to have her near me. I like to check her during the night, but my husband thinks that because she's sleeping through the night that it's time to put her into her own room. And basically, as I said, I'm just not ready, and he's putting pressure on me, and I just feel like a baby should be like 1 at least before you put it into its own room, you know. I don't know, like, am I being unrealistic? What other people do, as I said, it's my first baby, so I've never had to deal with this before, never had to think of this before, but I'm just wondering what age other people's babies were when they did it, and if they had like any conflicts with their partners on when to do it and what was the right time. Yeah, thanks a million. Bye-bye.
All right, no problem. Thank you a million. This is a debate that many couples have. So you have a new baby, and obviously when the new baby comes along, you keep the baby in the room with you and you keep an eye on it and all of that. But at what point do you say, right, enough is enough, the child has its own room, assuming the child does have its own room, and it's time for the baby to go into its own room? When do you make that decision? At what age? So in that message, the baby is 9 months old, so it's sleeping a full night, obviously. And here's what the experts say. I was interested in this earlier on. Here's what the experts say, whoever the experts are. Anyway, they say, the best time to start the move out of your room and into the baby's own room is when the baby is younger rather than older. Most of the official guidelines recommend that you and your baby sleep in the same room until the little one is about 6 months old. Many will have made the move before this for various reasons, but most people wait until the 6 month mark. So, to the lady who sent us that message, you're 3 months past the 6 month mark because her baby is 9 months old. But I know for a lot of parents, and particularly mammies, they just can't deal. They can't deal with the child going into its own room. And in many houses, the mammy and daddy have gone to great lengths to decorate the bedroom, to make the bedroom look lovely, and it's just sitting there empty. So at what stage do you take the baby out of your bedroom and put them into their own? I would love to hear from you on 6797981. You can text, you can WhatsApp, or you can send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98, like this message just did.
Just on the topic of babies, when should they be out of your room into their own room? Our first baby, as soon as she was outgrown the Moses basket, was probably at around 3 months, she went into her own room, and not a bother.
There you go. Not a bother. So, as you heard from that voice note, the mother, their child is 9 months old and she's still debating putting the child into its own room. Some people make the decision to move the child into its own room when the child is sleeping a full night. And that's, by 3 months they're sleeping a full night, generally speaking. And some people think that's far too early. No. They should be in the room with you until they're grown adults. Dave, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Dave?
Hey, Adrian, how's it going?
Dave, this is a debate that many couples have about when to move the baby out of the bedroom and into their own little room. What's the right time?
Yeah. Well, I've got 3 kids, and I'd say each of my kids now were moved out of the room by about 4 or 5 months. I'd say once they're sleeping through the night and they're not being breastfed, sure, there's no point in having them there with you beside the bed so you can look at them in the middle of the night. So just get a monitor, and if you're a bit worried about them, but they'll be grand. They're sleeping through the night. You're not the wrap.
Now I have to say, I would be on that page as well. I think as soon as they're, maybe not as soon as, but as soon as they're regularly, solidly sleeping a full night, that's the time to say, good luck, off you go. No, not in those words, but off into your own room with you. But as you said, we have great technology now. You can have a baby monitor literally beside your ear, and if the baby starts whimpering or crying or whatever, up you get and go and tend to the baby.
Yeah, exactly. As long as they're sleeping through the night or whatever, or even if they're on bottle feeds, sure, I just put them into their own. You're better off putting them in as soon as you can so they can get used to it.
And in fact, that's what the experts that I was quoting a while ago were saying. They said most official guidelines recommend that you and your baby sleep in the same room until the little one is about 6 months old.
Because if you had a child and the child is 1 or 1.5, you think they're going to go into their own room then? I don't think so.
That's where the trouble starts, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Well, here, wait till you get a load of this, Dave. Stay there for 1 second, because Anne.
Hiya.
Hi, Anne. How are you? Now, it says on my screen here that hers were nearly 2 years old. Really?
Yeah, 2 years, 3 kids. They were all that age. I felt safer having them with me. And I'd be up to bed all right. I'd put them into the cot beside me, and it'd be 7, half 7. They'd be asleep. I'd no monitors or anything. I wouldn't believe in them anyway. I'd rather just walk up the stairs and check on them, and then I'd go in and go to bed myself then at probably 11, 12 o'clock, and the child would sleep through the night. But I'd feel with me, I knew kind of from your first one and then the second one, I just says it's age enough to them. I just didn't like them in a room at that age on their own.
Why?
I'm the mother, so I knew myself. Every mother knows their own kids, so I felt safer having them with me till that age. And then, even when I did put them in, I could hear them calling me. They could talk and call Mama out. So I did. The doors were left open, and I could hear the kids. And that's just the way I done it, and I felt safer that way with them.
So how many kids have you got?
3.
And they all stayed in your room until they were 2?
Yeah, I think that's right, having the child beside you in the room. I don't believe in throwing them into a room at that very young age. That's the age where you need to be constantly watching them, because...
You don't need to be constantly watching them. Sure, they're asleep.
No, you do. I feel that I do, and I don't know anyone else will feel the same, but I felt safer having them with me. Maybe it was just me being overprotective, but they were grand. They slept all night.
But, okay, then, you see, this is what the experts are saying.
So why didn't I throw them in then?
Yes. Yeah, when you decided at the age of around 2 to move them into their own bed, was there not murder?
No, not a bother on them, and not a bother. The door be left open, and I put them in and took them in and watched them, and then 10, 15 minutes later I'd go back up the stairs and they'd be fast asleep. They were never had a bother. All of the 3 kids I had, it was nothing like screaming for hours and all this. Nah, none of it.
Well, Dave, what do you say to that? 2 years of age in the room with Mammy and Daddy?
Not in a month of Sundays, Adrian. No way. No.
Why not?
Sure, what are you doing? Like, the child is 2 years old.
And it's at 2 years of age, they're babies.
Yeah, but you can just come up to their own room and look after them if you want.
Why? But no. No. I think it's nice to have them beside you. They're only that age, for a while, and then they get bigger.
So this is for you then, Anne?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm the mother. I had them, so I want to make sure that they're looked after and watched, and making sure you're there for them. You know what I mean? But if they're in a separate room to them, I think it's very lonely to throw a young child into a room on its own.
And let me ask you another question on a more personal note. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you get your life back to normal with your partner when the child is still there up to the age of 2?
I know there's always ways, isn't there?
Well, how? What, downstairs on the sofa?
No, Jesus, you've different hours of the day, haven't you?
But not at night time.
What I mean?
Not at night time.
Well, barely, couldn't you? You could, but it's just, I know every person that's going to get on and say different, but that's me. Other people might say, well, do you have them in the bed till they're 8 or 9 with them?
Well,
which is wrong.
In fact, I just got a message. I was 10 or 11 still sleeping in my mammy's bed. I'm 30 now.
Yeah, that's horrible. That is absolutely... No, none of my kids slept in the bed either with me. I wouldn't do it because it's a bad habit to get into. But, that age now, no, God. If you were sick, all right, I'd let them in with me and I'd watch them, but otherwise, no. Two's the limit.
Stay there for 1 second, Dan. Anne says her 3 kids were in the bedroom with her until the babies were 2. Is that ridiculous? Have a listen to this WhatsApp voice note from Jenny.
Hi guys, our first baby went into her own room at 6 months because that's what the experts and the books recommended. She only slept a full night once she went into her own room. With our second, he went into his own room at 6 weeks and he went from sleeping about 2 hours a night to sleeping a full night the second he went into his own bedroom.
You see, they sleep better when they're in their own room, Anne. She had her second child in his own room at 6 weeks old.
Oh my God, no way would I do that. 6 weeks old? Yep. Oh Jesus, no way. I would never, no, I don't believe, as I said, everyone's different, but not 6 weeks old.
Well, okay, have a listen to this WhatsApp voice note, which is directly for you. Have a listen to this.
Yeah. I think that was just to keep her husband away from her for a few years.
Oh my God, that's ridiculous, like.
No truth in that, no?
No.
No, okay, all right.
Well, anyway, I said there's other ways you don't have to be there at night to be doing it, do you?
No, you don't. No, I suppose you don't.
So, you know what I mean?
Hang on there for 1 second. 6797981 is our telephone number. You can text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. Malik, you're on Dublin's 98 FM. Hiya, Malik.
I'm doing well. What about yourself?
Good, thank you. Now, you actually agree with Anne. Keep the kids in the bedroom until they're about 2.
Like you were saying that the experts say to move the baby after, 3 months, is it? Or 6 months?
The experts say by 6 months, yeah.
6 months. But experts do say that the kids are highly risk of sudden infant death syndrome as well if you put them in the cot unattended as well. That's what the experts say as well, you know. So if you put the baby in a separate room, how you can monitor the baby when you are sleeping and you are dreaming like...
Sure, if you have a baby monitor right beside your ear, you'll hear them.
If you're in deep sleep, how are you supposed to listen to that? Sometimes you don't, you know.
Yeah. Okay, so you think that up to 2 years?
Well, I'm not saying up to, maybe whenever it's suitable after year and a half or year or something like that. But 6 months or 3 months of the lady...
Well, 6 weeks, as one lady said. And in fact, the lady who sent that message said that the child actually slept much better as soon as he went into his own room.
Well, that's good for her. Like, if she was sleeping, her baby...
I mean, you could be... the little child could be in a bedroom with Mammy and Daddy, and maybe one of them snores and actually interrupts the child's sleep.
Well, I don't know. I mean, when the child is in Mommy's tummy, right? If the Mommy and Daddy snores at that time, the child can hear that thing, and the child gets used to that, all the sounds from the outside. So I think it's absolutely ridiculous to put the baby 6 months, 6 weeks old baby. My God, I wouldn't do that myself.
Okay, stay there for 1 second, Malik. Because Paula, I'm going to talk to you straight after the break. Yeah. Yeah. And it says on my screen that your son is still in your room, but when our listeners hear what age your son is, they will be gobsmacked. So stay there for 1 second, okay?
Yeah. The sound of the city from Drumcondra to Dorky. Dublin Talks. 98FM's Dublin Talks.
And good morning from Adrian Kennedy. We're here till midday today. If you've just joined us, we're in the middle of a conversation that happens with most couples who have a baby. It's a conversation that eventually has to come up. Have a listen to this.
It's a bit of a predicament I'm having now at the moment with my husband. We have a baby girl. She's just gone 9 months. It's our first baby, and basically we're debating on whether or not she should go into her own room. Like, I'm not ready, I don't think, to put her into her own room because, I like to have her near me. I like to check her during the night, but my husband thinks that because she's sleeping through the night that it's time to put her into her own room. And basically, as I said, I'm just not ready, and he's putting pressure on me, and I just feel like a baby should be like 1 at least before you put it into its own room, I don't know, like, am I being unrealistic? What other people do? As I said, it's my first baby, so I've never had to deal with this before, never had to think of this before, but I'm just wondering what age other people's babies were when they did it, and if they had like any conflicts with their partners on when to do it and what was the right time. Yeah, thanks a million. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. I'd like to hear from you on this on 6797981. You can text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. We already heard from one lady who put her child into its own room at 6 weeks old and ever since slept like a baby, if you'll excuse the pun. But Paula, your child is still in your room, won't go to his own room. What age is he?
He's 7.
He's 7?
Mm-hmm.
And what's the story there?
Well, he does have autism, so that's part of it. I've been trying to get him in his room. He was in a cot until about 2 in my room.
Right.
Put him in his own room. Maybe stayed there for about 6 months, and then he would walk in his sleep. So and then most nights I just find him back in my bed. So he's in my bed.
So have you just given up?
I've given. Well, I tried to. It's a couple of years he has Elf on the Shelf, and I've tried doing that, but it didn't work. I tried telling him Santa wouldn't come. It didn't work. So I have to try something else. But he won't go to his own room.
No matter what you try, you can't move him.
No.
Now, there are those saying that had you done what that lady a couple of minutes ago said she did and put the child into his room from a young age, he would have been well used to it and you wouldn't have this problem.
No, I think it depends on the children themselves, because my daughter, she's 10, and she was in my room until about 1.5, and then I put her into her own little room at 2, and she was fine. And she probably slept in my bed for about 6 months, but that was about it. And then after that, I put her into the bed, and she never came back out of the bed. So it depends on the child and on the situation.
But I'm sure you would agree. You have to agree that it's not overly healthy for a child to be at 7 to be in the same room as Mammy.
No, it's not. But if I put him in his own room, he still comes back into my room during the night. So there's no win there. I have to find a way to do it. I don't know what way to do it.
So no matter what you've tried, it just doesn't work. He just won't stay.
No.
And he has a lovely little room with his dinosaurs and with his little animals and his own little things, but he doesn't want to know.
And do you put it all down to the fact that he is autistic, or, in other words, do you not think that had you done this earlier, when he was much younger, that you wouldn't be having this problem now?
But I did. It's just that he'd go roaming the house. He'd wake up during the night and walk. So to avoid him walking during the night and maybe falling down and I didn't hear him, he just automatically comes into the room.
Stephen, why does this conversation annoy you?
Because, Adrian, you're getting women on, right, that are saying their kids are 6, 7, 8, 9 years of age, right, that won't go into their own room. I can guarantee you, all these parents are single parents that don't want to put their kids into their own bedrooms.
No, I'm married.
Sorry, that's not the case with Paula here. Now, Paula's situation is slightly different in that she says her child is autistic, and maybe that is...
Yeah, well, that's different than them sleepwalking. That's different, I suppose. But, look, I can guarantee 90% of the women that are coming on are all single parents, and just coming up with any excuse not to put their kid into a different bed. They don't want to have to go through the hassle of having to every night get into a routine with them. It's just too easy for them to get into the bed beside them and just leave it be. Like, it's ridiculous. A kid should be out of the room at 6 or 7 months old, and that's it. There's no way the kid should be in the room after first year. Not a hope.
And you've heard an awful lot of parents who do exactly that, although we had the other extreme, which was the mother who has her child in the room on its own from the age of 6 weeks, as soon as it was sleeping the night, and it slept much better as soon as she moved the child into its own room.
Yeah, well, that's perfectly fine, because like the kid is going to be in a cot beside you, so why not have the cot in the other room across the hall? Like, it's, as you say, you have a monitor beside your ear. Like, there's no issue. Like, the technology these days can detect if the baby's breathing, not breathing. It's just laziness with parents, I think. It really is.
Well, stay there for 1 second. Have you kids yourself, Stephen?
I do, yeah. I have two kids, 5 and 3.
And what happened with them?
They were gone after 6 months.
After 6 months, good luck, bye.
They never once slept in the bed with us. Never once, not one night in 5 years.
And so they slept in a cot with you at the start, but as soon as they were sleeping well, they were off?
Yeah, literally had the cot beside in the same room, not in the bed. They weren't in the bed. The cot was in the room. 6 months, the cot was pushed across the room, across the hall into a different room.
And no problems?
No issues whatsoever.
They're still alive, like?
Yeah, thank God. Never jumped out windows.
I'm being facetious in saying that. Of course they are.
Yeah. No, I know.
Stay there for 1 second. Let's bring in a couple of WhatsApp voice notes on this. This is from Rory.
Hi Adrian, Sean here in Finglas. I have the 2 kids in our room. The oldest is 2.5, the youngest is 1.5. We only have a 1-bedroom place. I miss sleep.
Sorry, that was Sean, not Rory. This is Stephen.
How are you, Adrian? That is nuts, having your kid in the bed at the age of 2 or in your same bedroom. Not a hope.
Okay, not a hope. And then Darren.
Morning, Adrian. When our little fella Evan came along, we already had two 17-year-olds, so we knew from example. So we actually sat down and talked about it. And our little fella is sleeping all the way through the night from 6 weeks old. Not a bother. And it's better to get them into the routine early instead of getting them into a wrong routine and trying to change it in 2 or 3 years' time.
Okay, now, Sue, you're on 98 FM. Hi, Sue.
Hiya.
Now, Sue, what do you want to say?
I was infuriated by that man's comment about single parents because he's nothing to base that on, nothing at all. We have 2 kids, one's 15, one is nearly 3. Our 15-year-old it was when I was pregnant, and the 3-year-old when she started finally sleeping properly on her own through it. But she's autism. We tried every single thing going. We would be up for nights on end. Her daddy would be sitting outside our door. He lived in a chair outside our door for, probably a couple of years on and off. We made a bed for her in our room. It was disastrous, and that went on until she was about 12. Well, when she was about 10, she'd start sleeping with the door wide open, and my door would be wide open, but I'd have to go to bed at the same time as her. I'd be in my room, and she would be in her room about 8:30 or 9 at night. And that's the way that went until she was 12. And then I got pregnant, and we have a little boy who's turning 3 in January, and he's still in our room. But now, I have a 2-bedroom place, So my only
in fact, there you've just raised an issue that I'd forgotten was actually an issue for people, because somebody just texted in a second ago saying exactly that. Myself and my wife live in a 2-bed house with 3 kids aged 4, 6 and 15. Unfortunately, the 6 and 15-year-olds are in one room and we've the 4-year-old in our room, not in the same bed, but she has her own bed, but needs must.
Yeah. Well, needs must as well. But, I could put him in Mahor, which I don't want to. Hopefully after Christmas we're going to get a 3-bedroom place, hopefully. But, at the minute he's non-verbal. He doesn't really say any words. He's about 5 words, but, he gestures. He uses sign language. I would not be nowhere ready to put him in a room on his own. At all.
At all?
No. Probably because he's autistic and he's non-verbal, and he would wake at night and he would cry. Wouldn't sign language, Now
you'll have to forgive me my ignorance, but would an autistic child suffer separation anxiety all the more?
I don't know. They're all different. It's a broad spectrum. Our daughter went through severe anxiety, severe. Nobody understands what it's like until you go through it. We had no life at all until she went on medication when she was about 10. We put her onto medication and it helped with her anxiety, but it was through the roof. It was crazy.
All right, so can you... your child might be a little bit different, but in general... Do you think it is healthy? For example, you heard of a 7-year-old in the room with Mammy. That just seems wrong on so many levels, particularly for the child.
I think 1.5, 2 is time enough to put them in. I don't think they should be. I didn't agree with my daughter being in with us at all. I hated it. I fought against it for so long, and I'm hoping I don't have the same battle with this fella. But she's verbal, he's non-verbal. They're 2 completely different kids.
All right, so your story is a little bit different. Thanks very much indeed, Sue. A couple of your messages before we wrap this up. Hi, Adrian. Where do you get those kids that sleep through the night? I must ask Santa for one of them for Christmas, as my 2 are absolute nightmares. Dermot sent us this WhatsApp voice note.
Adrian, in the winter, my 8-year-old and 5-year-old daughter share the bed with me and the wife, and it's great. We go to bed and tell stories and all fall asleep together and keep each other warm. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Fair enough, Dermot. Aaron.
Hey, Adrian. Aaron here. What difference does it make if it's 1 month, 6 months, 2 years? Everybody's different. Whatever works, I give up.
All right, and finally, Rachel.
Anybody have tips on how to actually get your baby to sleep through the night? Because mine's 8 months old, a little baby girl, and she was sleeping through the night, and then she got sick and she wouldn't eat during the day, so she started eating during the night, and now she just wakes up every couple of hours. If anybody has tips, it'd be great. Thank you.
All right, Rachel, thanks very much indeed. And thank you all of you for your calls. Interesting conversation. You're listening to 98FM's Dublin Talks. This is Adrian Kennedy. We're here till midday today. We have... it's over here. Yes. Fancy a night out? Well, courtesy of 98FM's Dublin Talks, we could be sending you along to the cinema, to IMC Cinemas for a night out. And all we want you to do is share with us your blonde moment. That moment that you did or said something so stupid, it can only be described as a blonde moment. Share it with us right now on 6797981. Text WhatsApp or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. The funniest blonde moment could be going to the cinema, to IMC. We're back in a sec. It's 11 o'clock across Dublin. Good morning. This is Adrian Kennedy. This is 98FM's Dublin Talks. And this is Trish with Wednesday's top headlines.
Thanks, Adrian. Farmers are refusing to leave St. Stephen's Green. The Agriculture Minister came to the picket line this morning and also sat down with 5 of the farmers. Protesters who are causing traffic chaos with their tractors want the Minister to apologise for comments he made in the Dáil about the demonstration. Images and videos of a new whitewater rafting facility at George's Dock have been unveiled. The 3D model shows an inner flat pool that'll be surrounded by a canoe course. A full council meeting next month will decide whether the attraction should get the go-ahead. Housing Minister Owen Murphy will face a no-confidence motion in the Dáil next week. The Social Democrats say it will table the vote. And communities across Ireland are being severely affected by violence and intimidation by crime gangs, according to a major EU report. The Europol study study named the Kinahan cartel as one of Europe's main organised crime gangs, which has expanded internationally. The drugs market in the EU is worth around €30 billion. And you're up to date on 98.
98 FM's Dublin Talks. Call 6797 981.
And it is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. No, it's Wednesday. Yeah, it is Wednesday. It's 98 FM's Dublin Talks, and it is time for you to share with us your blonde moments. Now, this is the part of the show where we ask you to publicly humiliate yourself. By telling us something that you did that really was just so thick, something you did or said that was so thick it can only be described as a blonde moment. And if you humiliate yourself, I'll give you passes for IMC cinemas.
And if you don't want to humiliate yourself, you can basically say that it was a family member.
Which is what loads of people do.
Loads of people do. And now my one this week is definitely a family member. She made me swear that I wouldn't tell this one on the radio, so I'm going to do it. This is my mother, Granny Dixon.
Okay.
As you know, Adrian.
Granny Dixon?
Yeah.
Dixon?
Yeah, Granny.
Oh, right.
You know, I hooked her up to Netflix a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
You do know that,
yes,
don't you?
I do, yep.
And I have to say, my mother's in her, 60s, 70s?
You should know. How would I know?
No idea what age the woman is. She's ageless. Anyway, she's getting on in years, but my God, she's taken to Netflix like a duck to water.
That's fantastic.
She
Very
knows
good.
how to use it, knows how to do everything. However, here's what happened with her blonde moment. During the week, earlier on during the week, it was Monday actually, I was over in her house and I was saying to her, how's Netflix going, Ma? And she was saying, oh, it's great, I'm watching this and I'm watching that.
Very good.
And it's brilliant. Have you any recommendations for me? She says. And I said, I've loads of recommendations for you. And she says, tell me this, what's that movie Trending Now all about?
Oh.
I said, what are you talking about? I was on my Netflix account and I saw a thing called Trending Now. What is that all about? What does that mean? What does Trending Now mean? I was like, no, Ma, they are the programmes that are trend. She doesn't know what the word trending means.
Oh.
And I was trying to explain to her what trending actually meant, and she didn't get it. So, Ma, if you're listening...
So it should really say popular now, shouldn't it, really?
Yeah, because...
And your mother would have understood that.
Yeah, because senior people like my mother don't understand the word trending.
Probably not.
What does trending mean? Then we have her Katie.
Oh, indeed.
Now,
and in fact, lest we be accused of bullying, Katie has asked us to share her blonde moments with you.
Yes, but let's start it off very quickly by asking you, just text straight away, here's a question. Who is the Iron Lady? Okay, so if we were to talk about the Iron Lady on the show now, does anybody listening know who we'd be talking about? So text or WhatsApp us right now.
On 0877 98 98 98. Who is the Iron Lady?
So if myself and Adrian were talking about the Iron Lady now, she was a great album. I loved the Iron Lady. How did you feel about her?
Oh no, she was a battle axe.
Oh, you didn't like the Iron Lady?
No, I wasn't a fan of the Iron Lady. Lots of people weren't.
She was a force to be reckoned with, though, wasn't she?
She was a force to be reckoned with, but she was a battle axe. Jeremy loves power women. And that's it. You love power women.
I love power women. So who is the Iron Lady? Now,
does anybody know?
A lot of people are texting in Queen Elizabeth. Is she the Iron Lady?
No. It's not Queen Elizabeth. No.
She's a force to be reckoned with, though.
She is. Anyway, there's a reason we're telling you this story, because we were having a conversation with our Katie one day, and the conversation of the Iron Lady came up. And we asked Katie, do you know who the Iron Lady is?
And Katie's answer was, yes, it's Gwyneth Paltrow. I mean, like, what are you talking about, Gwyneth Paltrow? It's Iron Man's wife in the Marvel movies. So, our Katie, who's a very...
By the way, nobody seems to know who the Iron Lady actually is.
Okay, so it wasn't just...
Somebody else just texted in Gwyneth Paltrow.
So our Katie thinks that the Iron Lady is Iron Man's wife, as in Gwyneth Paltrow.
That's a true story, by the way. We didn't make that up.
You couldn't make that up.
You couldn't make that up. Oh, yes. Somebody just got the right answer. Fiona. The Iron Lady was... Margaret Thatcher, of course.
There's a lot of people texting some very vicious things about her.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Is she not liked over this?
Not at all.
Really?
That's out. That is out. Do you not remember that? No?
What was she talking about?
They were talking about the North, and it was like, no, and that one is out. Joint sovereignty is out.
It's like listening to Margaret Thatcher.
Oh, she was a weapon. Anyway, there you go. Margaret Thatcher, you can stop texting us. Thank you.
She had a problem with minors, didn't she?
Pardon me? Oh, kids?
No, minors. M-I-N-E-R-S?
Yeah, minors, yes.
Minors,
yes. I wasn't a fan of the minors. Anyway, there you go. Margaret Thatcher was the Iron Lady. It wasn't the Iron Man's wife, because you wouldn't have called her husband the Iron Man at all. He was a little weasel as well. Anyway, enough about Margaret Thatcher from back in the day. Now, we want you to share with us your blonde moment. Mandy, you're on 98 FM. Hiya, Mandy.
Morning, how are you, Adrian?
Hey,
I'm good, thanks, Mandy. Mandy, tell us about your blonde moment.
Oh, well, yesterday, standing in work, I work in the shop, so it's next place, and I shouted out, I'm quite shouty anyway, I shouted out, would you like a bag? And they all just stood there and laughed at me. But I've also shouted over the past, I love you, hiya, hon, and many other things.
Why would you shout, I love you?
I just don't know. I think I go off on a tangent when I'm in work and I just forget what I'm doing.
What, you just shout things that make no sense? And
regularly,
Who did you say I love you to?
Oh, just whatever was next in the queue.
You have to be careful nowadays with that, don't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you do a bit. But in fairness, most of them just laugh at me. They're used to me now at this stage and they just laugh.
And where do you work? What's the name of the company?
I work in a shop in town.
Oh, you don't want to say the name of the shop, do you?
No.
No, the reason I'm saying that is, did you see the story in the news 2 weeks ago where a woman, you know Greggs, that sells...
Yes.
It's a big shop in the UK. They sell... What do they sell, Adrian, Greggs? Pasties and...
Sausage rolls and stuff.
Anyway, a woman was going into Greggs every day to order a sausage roll, and one day the fella behind the counter happened to say, Jesus, missus, you're here every day. You're going to go off those sausage rolls really quick. Anyway, she sued the company for embarrassing her, and she ended up getting a claim out of them. So just be careful. Just be careful what you say to customers nowadays.
I know. It's all very PC these days, isn't it?
It is a little bit.
Yeah, no.
Thank you, Mandy.
No problem. Bye.
What is your blonde moment? Call me right now on 6797 981. You can text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. Now, where are we going? Ali, you're on 98 FM. Ali, tell us about your blonde moment.
Hi, I'm mortified even saying it.
That's what we like. Hello, Ali?
Hi, can you hear me?
Oh, just about. Yeah, go on.
Hi, I took the dog's antibiotics instead of my own ones.
Ooh.
So, a bit mortifying. In fairness, they were together on the shelf and they were in the same type of bottle. But I then had to go and ring my own doctor and ring the vet to make sure that I wasn't going to die. But that was my bland moment.
So you're on dog medication at the moment? Are you?
You haven't started barking or anything, no?
A couple of years ago
Oh.
now, so I'm all right.
So you must have been feeling rough at the time, right?
Sorry, this is one of Jeremy's annual jokes.
I've never used that joke.
You have, yeah. Anytime it comes to a dog, you say, you must be feeling rough.
Come here, after you took the dog medication, yeah?
Yeah.
Were you going to the toilet by lifting up your hind leg?
It wasn't that bad. But that definitely a blonde moment.
That is a blonde moment, all right.
Well, here, I have good news for you. My wife is a veterinary nurse, yeah?
Okay.
And this is a lot more common, because she's told me about this. This is a lot more common than you think. She regularly gets calls from both sides of the things. But she doesn't get dogs.
Really?
Well, no, she doesn't get dogs ringing the back on. But she regularly gets calls from clients who have taken their animals' medication. And she gets calls from clients who have given their animals their medication. She had a call.
In fairness, they're in the same type of bottle. You know, the kind of brown one with the white lid. If you're on an antibiotic, they're the exact same. And when you put them on the windowsill in the kitchen, that's what happened to me.
Hey, would you not just write dog on the front of one of them?
I'll have to the next time. Hopefully it won't happen again.
A friend of mine who also works in the vet business got a call about 2 years ago. This is actually true and it's hilarious. And one of their clients, she was a woman that was in her late 40s, early 50s. And you know what she'd done to her poodle?
What?
By mistake. She'd given her poodle her HRT tablets.
Ew. So instead of barking like woof, 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 the dog started to bark woof, woof, woof.
But
Is that what happened?
This is a true story. She gave the dog her HRT tablets.
Thank you, Ali. Great to talk to you. Here is Ian with a blonde moment.
Howdy, Adrian. My blonde moment is I was on the phone to me mate walking across the Conor Bridge just after leaving work, and then I just stopped and says, I'm after forgetting me phone, and turned around to run back to the site only to realise I was actually on the phone to me mate while he's on the other end laughing.
Why do so many people do that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't realise they're on the phone when they're looking for it.
Just that lady Ali who was on about taking the dog's medication, some smart arse just texted in to say, I drove past that woman's house earlier.
Oh, okay.
She ran out of the garden and chased the car down the road shouting like a mad woman. Says Tony. Thank you, Tony. Here's Cian.
Morning, lads. My blonde moment is, well, it was her blonde moment. We were talking the other day and we were going over some documents, and she said she'll make sure to go through it with a flying tooth comb. A flying tooth comb. She had no idea that the expression was flying tooth comb. I was in nuts.
A flying tooth comb.
Someone in my family just had to remind me of one of my young fella. Can you say blonde moments about children?
Yeah, of course you can, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, go on.
Okay. My young fella's studying for his nativity play at the moment, as you know.
Studying?
Well, he's learning his lines and stuff.
Oh, right. What are his lines?
Doesn't matter at the moment. He's got a nativity play coming up in a couple of weeks. So anyway, we were talking to him about it there the other day, and we were asking him, how's the rehearsals going for the nativity play? And he says it's great. He says one of my best friends is playing one of the three wise men in the nativity play.
Oh, very good.
And he said, very good. And what does he have to do? And he says, well, he only has one job to do. He has to bring Frankenstein out onto the stage. What is this, a haunted nativity play? Now, of course, he meant
frankincense.
Frankincense, yes.
Here is
he's playing a sheep.
Here's a funny blonde moment from Anna.
My blonde moment was went back to education after 20 years last year, and couldn't really get the jargon of the computer and stuff. But anyway, long story short, I had to get Garda vetting. And everyone each week was saying, did anyone get any answer from them? Did anyone get any answer? So I put my hand up and I was like, yes. I said, this man, I said, he keeps texting me. His name's Donna Teropoli or Donna Reply. And they were like, what? And I was like, his name is Don to reply. And they were like all on the floor crying, and I actually could not get the joke until someone explained to me that the answer was, do not reply to this email. Do not reply. I thought it was a man. I was mortified.
So she thought the person that kept emailing her was Donut reply.
Because in the subject bar, if you get an email that you're not supposed to reply to, it says in the subject, don't reply.
I love it. Will, you're on Dublin's 98 FM. How are you, Will?
How's it going, lads?
Will, tell us about your blonde moment.
It was yesterday. I was out in Penny's in the Omni, and I had the little fella with me, I just wanted to pick up the jams and that for the missus. Mm-hmm. And by the time I got around to, he was pulling Christmas stuff, the way kids are in the shops. And when I got to the till, at the bottom of the basket, there was bras and knickers and all in the basket. So I was looking at him. I says, do you put them in there? And he goes, yeah, for Mammy. So I just, a woman had on the counter, she had the basket up on the counter. And she said, do you want them? And I goes, oh yeah. I just didn't want to throw them back.
That's embarrassing.
So what were the items exactly?
Bras and knickers and stuff.
I don't know, bras and jeans.
No, but were they nice?
I don't know, I didn't look. I just went pink. I couldn't get my card out quick enough to jam into the machine.
And just get out of there.
Yeah, just to run out of the shop.
That's a great story. Thanks very much indeed. Robbie sent us this WhatsApp voice note.
Oh yeah, lads. My blonde moment is, I was having a conversation with the missus the other night, and I said to her, do you know lamb? Like the meat. Obviously that comes from baby sheep because they're called lambs. But I said, if they kill all the lambs, how is there so many grown-up sheep? Now, I still think it makes sense, but supposedly everyone's telling me I'm so stupid for thinking that. Can you even explain that to me? If they kill all the baby lambs to make lamb that we buy, how is there so many grown-up sheep?
That's a good question.
I have the answer.
What's the answer?
It's actually quite boring, actually.
Oh.
Some lambs are born for slaughter, obviously, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they're done. And the rest of the lambs are raised just for their wool.
So how are they? How do they decide? So 2 little lambs are born,
Jesus,
yeah?
No, don't say that.
No, it's an honest question.
I don't want to think about that.
2 little lambs are born, and they're both bah, bah,
No,
right?
lambs don't make
And
that
then
noise.
how does the farmer come along and say, see you, I don't like your bah, so you're dead, and the other one you can go and make wool? How do they decide? No, you see, you don't have the answer.
Well, no, I don't know how they make the decision, but how do they make any decision? When you see a cow that's in a field that's about 60 years old, why wasn't he killed for steak? Why was he spared?
If anybody can... if there's loads of farmers in Dublin right now, they might be able to answer the question.
They're very angry at the moment.
Where am I going now? Shell, how are you, Shell?
Hiya.
Shell, tell us about your blonde moment, please.
So I was sitting there this morning and my mum's going through like the Virgin HD box and she's like, can I delete that? Can I delete that? And I'm like, yeah. I was like, what are you deleting everything for, sure? And she's like, sure, the box is nearly full. And I was like, no, it's not. So I said, sure it is. And I looked at the box and goes, no, it's not. Sure, it's 90% full. What are you talking about? Obviously nothing was recording because the box was memory was full.
Yeah, it was completely full.
And I'm like, why is she deleting everything thinking it was 90% empty and not 90% full?
You big tick.
And I'm normally the techie in the house.
Oh, right, okay. So she was right this time.
She was right this time, yeah.
All right,
So
thanks,
that was my
Shell.
blonde moment.
That's
No,
a great
well,
blonde moment. Thanks very much indeed. Now, a lamb will be over 2 years old when slaughtered, at which point they are fully grown. Lamb means under 4, if I'm not mistaken. That doesn't explain how half of them will be killed for lamb meat and the others grow up to be walking around the hills.
I don't want to be reminded about it. I just like the taste of lamb. Stop reminding me that they're little cute things that go...
Well, they are little cute things.
You love lamb as well.
I do, yeah. Mark's nephew had a blonde moment.
Hey lads, my nephew Clayton Foran thought that everything back in the day in the world was black and white because of black and white TVs. He didn't realise it was just a telly that was black and white. He thought the whole world was black and white. Thanks, lads.
When I was younger, I thought the exact same thing. I really did, because all the photographs...
And when you were younger, TV was black and white, wasn't it?
No, we had colour telly. But no, any photographs of my mum and dad when they were younger, they're all in black and white. Every single one of them.
Your parents must be a lot older than mine. My parents... Well, the honeymoon, is it black and white?
No, they have colour photographs from that. But when they were kids, any photographs of when they were younger, they're all in black and white. And I thought the whole world was in black and white. Collie sent us this message.
Hi, for the last 41 years, myself and my sister always thought it was called a wardrobe, not a wardrobe, because it stands against the wall. No embarrassing.
Yeah,
that would make more sense.
It would, yeah.
A wardrobe.
A wardrobe. Yeah, why is it called a wardrobe? Does anybody know? But yes, that would make an awful lot more sense if it was called a wardrobe, because it stands against the wall. And finally, Aaron is on to us with his blonde moment. How are you, Aaron?
How's it going, Adrian?
Good. Tell us about your blonde moment.
I was sitting in my car and I started my car and I was in a rush. I realised that I was looking for my keys, couldn't find them. My girlfriend goes, what are you doing? I goes, I can't find the keys anywhere. She goes, hope you know that you started the car. I realised that the car was started, the keys were in the ignition.
So the car was running, the engine was running.
Yeah. And I realised that I started the car because I was in that much of a hurry. I realised that I put the keys in the ignition and started it.
We've all done it.
No, we haven't. We actually haven't. No, none of us.
We've all done it. We have, every single one of us.
Oh, I tell you, it was a shocking moment, it was.
All right, good to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed. I'm sorry, Katie, what message are you saying? Oh, right.
I don't know if we can read out that one, can we?
Why not?
It's a bit politically incorrect, is it?
No, not necessarily, no.
I think it is.
No, I would argue.
Okay, Adrian's reading this out.
This text just came in to us. My son, in his blonde moment, thought Black Friday was a celebration of black culture.
That's not what the text says.
Black people.
Black people, yeah.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
No, there's nothing, I suppose. You just have to be careful nowadays.
Oh, my God, what a snowflake.
I'm not a snowflake.
The message says, my son thought Black Friday was a celebration of black people.
Yeah, but it's
That's
okay.
a reasonable thing to assume.
Yeah, and it's coming from a kid as well, so that's okay.
And Paddy sent us this message.
Hi guys, my blonde moment was a couple of years ago. A mate was telling me how he was doing a charity thing, a deal or no deal thing, and he had it down to 2 boxes and he picked the wrong one, and he told me the story and I went, oh jeez, 50-50, what are the odds?
Yes, they are the odds, aren't they? 50-50, they're the odds. Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much indeed for your calls. Katie, I'll let you pick the winner today. Who is the winner of the IMC movie passes? And the lady who took Ali who took the dog's antibiotics. There you go, Ali, you just won yourself cinema passes for IMC Cinemas, where you can have a night out on us. Well, on IMC actually, so congratulations. And thank you very much indeed for your blonde moments. I enjoyed those stories today. This is 98FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy. On the way after the break, if you're part of a big family, you've several brothers and sisters, how do you cope with the whole Christmas present thing? Do you buy a present for every brother and sister? Does having a big family put you under financial pressure at Christmas with having to buy so many presents? Well, Orla, excuse me, sent me this message, and Orla said, need some advice from your listeners. I'm part of a very large family. There are 6 of us. I've 2 sisters and 3 brothers. Every Christmas, we all buy each other presents, and it costs a bloody fortune. This year, I suggested doing a secret Santa, and I was told this was stingy. Help! How do other big families deal with this problem? And that's from a lady called Orla. How do big families deal with that problem? We'll deal with that next.
The sound of the city, from Adamstown to Artane. Dublin Talks. 98FM's Dublin Talks.
Wednesday morning with Adrian Kennedy. Orla sent me this message yesterday, and I know this is a problem that many families have to deal with. And here's what Orla said. I need some advice from your listeners. I'm part of a very large family. There are 6 of us. I've 2 sisters and 3 brothers. Every Christmas we buy each other presents, and it costs a small fortune. This year I suggested doing Secret Santa, and I was told that this is stingy. Help! How do other big families deal with this problem? And that's from a lady called Orla. And I would like to hear from you on 6797 981. You can text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98, like Colin just did.
How's it going, lads? I'm from a family of 12 and you just can't buy for each other. So basically what we do is we buy for our godchildren, or say if someone's at having a new baby the first year, that baby will get a present. Other than that, you couldn't, because I think there's 30 odd, like my ma has 30 odd grandchildren at the moment, so you couldn't do it. So it's enough. Good luck. Cheers, lads. Very busy. Have to go. Bye bye.
Come on. Okay. Good luck. Siobhan O'Neill is from mams.ie, and this is something that you've actually written about, Siobhan, about how to deal with a big family. And this lady Orla, she says she's 3 brothers, 2 sisters. She suggested this year doing a Secret Santa thing, and she was called stingy.
Yeah, Siobhan O'Neill from mams.ie is very annoyed now.
Why?
The absolute cheek of them to call her stingy. Christmas is supposed to be about family, peace, harmony, togetherness. It's not supposed to be about frenzied shopping for everybody in your family. Let's be realistic. We all get too much stuff for Christmas. We all get stuff we didn't necessarily need, and sometimes stuff that we don't necessarily want. It's too much. There's too much pressure on people to spend too much money. And I don't mean to be sexist here, but I do feel a lot of it, particularly when you have children, a lot of it falls on the mothers. I just think we do take a lot of responsibility.
To do all the Christmas shopping, get all the presents in. Yeah,
I'm
you're
not
probably
saying
right.
every woman does it, but I'm saying I know from my experience with all the mummies that I speak to through mams.ie, the pressure does fall a lot on our shoulders, and thinking, do I need to get something for the teachers? Do I need to do shoebox appeal? And there's all of these things that we need to do. And we do Secret Santa in my family, and it's brilliant.
And is your family big or small, or?
Well, I have 4 children, and so my husband, myself, and the 4 kids, we do a Secret Santa. And then in my own family, we don't buy for each other, for brothers and sisters and all that. We just do godchildren, and my mum and dad will buy something for my kids, and the kids will have a small gift for Nana and Grandad, and that's it. My sister is saving for a house. My other sister is saving for a house. I've got 4 children. I don't need to be going out and buying presents for my 4 siblings, for everyone, all the nieces, nephews, and all this kind of stuff.
Okay, now only a couple of weeks ago on this programme, we had a kind of an unusual conversation about identical twins, and we spoke to one guy who is an identical twin and has never bought his brother a gift ever in his life, which we all thought was a bit weird. But what is the point? Because his brother would be giving him a gift, he'd be giving him a gift back. It seems kind of pointless. Just buy a gift for yourself. But are we getting to the stage though that we all need to look at the amount of ridiculous rubbish we're buying for Christmas presents?
We do, and you know what else? There's been a lot of focus on the climate change and the environment lately. So I'm saying, my advice to people is, buy less, but buy quality. Don't be going online and buying loads of crap from, China or something like that. And actually, last year or the year before I was under a lot of pressure at work. We were upgrading the site. Everything was going wrong. And I ordered some stuff online on Amazon on Black Friday, I think it was, some skates. And they didn't arrive in time. The shipment got lost and it had to be resent, and they didn't arrive in time. Now, the stress that caused me, I thought this was going to save me time and it was going to be easy, but I couldn't get anyone in the company. It was really difficult to get it resolved, and they did come on the 27th of December, which wasn't much good. But anyway, so what I learned a valuable lesson. Don't be buying from somewhere that you don't know, that you can't speak to the company, and that if it's going to be difficult. So there's a really good company in Dublin called GoSkate.ie, and they do skates and scooters. I would rather go into their store, or you can do it online as well now if you want, but I'd rather go into a store and pick something and actually have a customer service experience. And I know if I have a problem, I can go back to an actual person. I can pick up the phone and speak to somebody. So I would rather, even if it was an extra 10 or 20 euro, I wouldn't mind that, because the peace of mind of knowing that you're buying something that's quality and you're supporting an Irish business, for me, that's way more important.
Okay, so let's go back to Orla here. 3 brothers, 2 sisters, so the 6 children. And she has suggested, because it's costing a fortune to buy all 6 or all 5 a present. So this year she suggested doing a Secret Santa thing, and they all said, "Oh my God, you're so stingy."
I think that's absolutely disgraceful, and it goes against the spirit of Christmas. And when we do Secret Santas, we put a limit on it. So we put a limit of like 20 euro or 15 or 20 euro, and that's it. And you should be able to go out and buy a thoughtful gift for somebody in your family for 15 or 20 euro. And even obviously it's going to be Black Friday. There's a lovely company, Bell & Bow, and they have jewellery and little Christmas baubles. You can put it on the tree, and then on Christmas Day give it to the person. 20 quid. You shouldn't have to go out and spend a lot of money, and that's an Irish company as well. There's loads of great Irish companies that have lovely products. You shouldn't have to buy 5 presents for 5 different people.
Okay, so the days of buying 5 presents for 5 different people is gone, especially when you're talking about adults here.
Well, it's a choice. I mean, it's a choice that you make in a family. I think it's really unfair that they're calling.
But in Orla's situation, she's the one that suggested it, so she's the one who's been branded tight, basically.
Well, I think she's the smart one. I think she's the person in that family with the cop on. And you know, what we do in our family, like I say, I don't buy for my siblings. What we do is we go out for dinner and a few drinks some night before or after Christmas, and we actually spend a bit of time together. We have a bite, we have a few drinks, we have a bit of crack. And that's what we do. Instead of rushing around the shops and buying each other presents that we may or may not like, it should be about spending time together. My best friend has 4 kids. I've got 4 kids. We had the conversation, and Irish people aren't very good at these conversations where we talk about money. And I said, look, there's no point in you buying for my kids, me buying for your kids. How about instead of buying presents, we go out, just the 2 of us, and we go and have dinner and a few drinks. So every Christmas, myself and herself, now it might not happen until January, we'd be so busy, we go out and we spend time together.
But actually, I'd love to find out, let's forget about kids for a second, but adults with brothers and sisters, do you buy each other presents? Text or WhatsApp the answer to that question to 0877 98 98 98. Now, I've a brother and a sister, and I can't remember the last time I bought them a Christmas present, and vice versa. We just don't buy Christmas presents. Is that mean?
No, it's not mean. Who decided that we all have to buy presents for each other? This pressure and the stress of Christmas. And like, we put together a gift guide on mums.ie. We started in September because I know that the mummies start shopping in September for Christmas. The minute the kids are back at school, they get straight into it because there's so much to do and it can be overwhelming. It really can be overwhelming. And then the children are looking for things. And there's this expectation that you have to buy certain things and you have to do certain things. Says who? Who says we have to put ourselves into debt in December and have the most miserable January? We shouldn't have to do that. It's supposed to be.
I know, but there is something nice about getting a gift on Christmas.
There is, but that doesn't mean you have to go out and buy loads of gifts. So instead, like, the Secret Santa thing is really fun because you don't know who's got you. And then the chances are you're going to get a more thoughtful gift. Like, we did that last year and I got there's a lovely thing, a hidden gem, it's called these little gift boxes for men. That's a lovely gift that you can give to a brother or a father. You know, a nice gift for a guy. Now, because you're not buying for 4 or 5 other people, you can actually focus and buy something nice for the person that you have. You can put a bit more thought into it. Whereas if you're going and buying 5, 6, 7 gifts for siblings and parents and all this kind of stuff, you're put under pressure. You're rushing around. And we've all seen people in a state of high anxiety in December, carrying loads of bags, bumping into each other, stressed off their heads. That's not what it's supposed to be about.
Okay, so Orla is dead right to suggest that in her family of 3 brothers and 2 sisters, that a Secret Santa thing is the solution to buying 5 presents for each of them every year.
Orla is a smart girl, and I bet you if they did Secret Santa, they would enjoy it. They would have the crack with it, and they would all get one really nice gift rather than 4 maybe mediocre gifts.
All right, here's a message. Siobhan O'Neill from mams.ie. Thanks very much, Lee, for joining us. Here's a message I just got in. My family are completely different. They feel you should go all out. My mam bought my 48-year-old brother, get a load of this, bought my 48-year-old brother a MacBook Pro last Christmas, among other things. She's not rich by any means. She even buys the receptionist in the doctor's office a bottle of spirits and chocolates. Even the bloody bin man gets a prezi. No joke. She has us broke. So that's the opposite end of the scale here. Let me go to Kerry. You're on 98 FM. Hi, Kerry.
Hi.
Kerry, how do you deal with it?
Well, we only buy for the kids. So our siblings, so we all have children.
Yep.
So what we do is we buy for the kids because the kids appreciate it more. And we couldn't afford to do it for everybody. So a couple of years ago, we all said, listen, how would you feel if we just looked after the kids? And the 3 of us were thrilled because, to be honest with you, it saves
and it just takes somebody to actually say it.
This is it, like, and that's what happened. See, when we all had kids, nobody felt bad because everybody was still getting something. Do you know? Because there was a time when I was the only one who had kids, and I felt like, well, no, I mean, they're getting for my guy. I kind of have to get something for them. But now that we all have children, we just buy for the kids.
And when it was suggested first, you see, this is the issue with Orla, okay? And Orla suggested that a Secret Santa is the answer because there's each one of them, there's 2 sisters, 3 brothers, all grown adults. She suggested a Secret Santa because it's ridiculous having to buy 5 adult siblings presents every year.
Yeah.
And she's been called stingy.
But the thing is, you see, it's not stingy. It's all about the value of money and the import. Like, we get each other birthday presents.
Yeah, but instead of getting 5 presents from your siblings, you only get 1.
Yeah, no, I know, but you get a better present. But it really, to be honest with you, like, that's irrelevant. Like, it's very cheeky. I tell you what I'd do. Like, my granda, he's 94 now, and it's certainly not a money thing. He has 8 kids, and they're all fully grown, of course, but he gives them all a present from Troker. So my mum will get a card, and it says, I have sent however many hens over to a third world country on your behalf. Do you know, and that's your Christmas present. And I actually think it's great.
Okay, that's the solution. I'd like to hear from you on 6797 981. You can text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. Are you one of these families where everybody buys everybody a gift? Or Or have you gotten your head around the whole Secret Santa thing? Call me right now on 6797 98.1. We'll take a quick break. We're back in just a moment.
The sound of the city from Donamead to Drimna. Dublin Talks. 98FM's Dublin Talks.
And this is Adrian Kennedy, and Orla sent me this message, and she said, I need some advice from your listeners. I'm part of a very large family. There are 6 of us. I've 2 brothers and 2 sisters and 3 brothers. Every Christmas we buy each other presents, and it costs a small fortune. This year I suggested doing Secret Santa, and I've been told I'm stingy. Help! How do other big families deal with this problem? So basically, Christmas every year is a financial burden because she's buying presents for her adult brothers and sisters. And the question is, how do you deal with it? Are you one of those families who buys everything for everybody, no matter what age they are? Are you one of those mammies that buys your 48-year-old son a MacBook Pro as a Christmas present? Will, you're on 98FM. How are you, Will?
How's it going, Nancy?
Good, thanks, Will. You also have a big family.
It's big enough now. It's not like 15 people in the family.
Right.
Do you know that way? But we'd all get down to my ma's around the Christmas time and exchange gifts down there.
So does everybody buy everybody a present?
No, well, first the kids will be all right, but mostly there's vouchers given out. You know, because we'd know what each other wants. Now, we'd more friends as well to be down there. Some of our friends would be down. And we'd meet up over the Christmas for some drinks.
So, when you go down to your mum's on Christmas...
I bring the kids down. I bring the kids down to my ma's and then have dinner down there.
Yeah.
And my partner, she would bring her dad up Stephen's Day.
So...
You know, so we'd have like...
yeah, but how many presents do you go down to your mum's with?
4, 5.
4 or 5, okay.
Yeah.
So have you many brothers and sisters?
I have one brother and sister.
Sorry, one brother and one sister.
Aunties and uncles will all be up in the house, you know that way, so...
Right, so there's no presents for aunties and uncles?
Yeah, you'd have to get them something.
Oh, right. So now we're past 4.
In the year, you know. What?
I'm just wondering how many presents you actually buy in total, roughly.
5 or 6. It wouldn't be mental, do you know that way?
What about all the aunties and uncles?
Yeah, we'll make sure that they get vouchers.
So, yeah, so many aunties and uncles are we talking about?
Not that many, like 4 or 5.
Okay. And then brothers and sisters, do you buy them something?
I buy my sister something. I love her.
She said, read through the lines there.
The other
fella, enough. Okay, so you buy 5, 6, 7 gifts. That's it.
Yeah, it will be. We'd spoil me man now.
Sorry?
We'd spoil me man.
You spoil your man. Well, that's okay. Yeah, you're allowed to spoil your mammy. Yeah. But other than that, what do you think of the idea of this Secret Santa thing?
I don't get it, to be honest with you. See this Kris Kringle thing and all, I just don't understand it.
Well, okay, so say, for example, in this family that Orla's talking about, there's 6 of them all together. Yeah. So each of them, if you get drawn out of a hat, and Orla might get her brother David. So she's to buy her brother David a present. Now, David doesn't know he's been chosen by Orla. And Orla goes off and buys a present for David, and that's it. David gets 1 present. He doesn't get 5. He doesn't get 5 presents.
But you don't know people's circumstances. They might have kids that they're spending fortunes on, you know that way.
You see,
it's a different time now.
That's what I was about to say. A lot of people think that this Christmas giving thing has just gone ridiculous. And I remember thinking a couple of weeks ago when we spoke to the guy who's a twin, and he said that he has never bought his twin a birthday present. And it got us thinking, sure, why would you bother? Because he gives him a gift, and then his brother gives him a gift. Sure, what's the point? It seems pointless. But you could say the exact same thing for families. That you give your brother a gift, your brother gives you a gift. What was the point? Buy your own gift.
That's not the Christmas spirit, no.
Yeah, I know, but it goes around in such a vicious circle that people get themselves into awful financial woes because of it.
Like, I might get someone something for €10 and they might buy €80 gift.
Yeah, that's exactly the point. Yeah. That's exactly the point. Stay there for a second, Will. Let's have a listen to this WhatsApp voice note from Gavin.
I'm absolutely going mad, Adrian. I'm in work here.
People are just cheapskates. I'm just listening to her from mums.ie. The first thing she says, I'm not being sexist, but it's the women that gets the burden. I'm sorry, we men don't shop either, yeah. The reality of it is millennials of today, they just are mean. They don't want to spend money. They're whinging about the cost of rent. They're whinging about the cost of homes. They're whinging about the cost of travelling to and from work. I'm sorry, but I've had to deal with it for years. I'm sick of it. They're just whingers and they're mean and they don't want to spend any money. That's the real reason.
Oh, right. So it's gone down to meanness. Is it mean, though, for a lady to say, it's gone ridiculous, there are 6 of us, I'm buying presents for my adult brothers and sisters, and it has to end? 5 different presents just for her siblings that she's buying every year, and she suggested a Secret Santa, and she's being called mean, and in fact, Gavin just did exactly that. Adam, you're on 98 FM, how are you?
Buying every year.
Hello, Adam.
Yeah, how you doing?
Yeah, turn down the radio there, good man. Can't stand the sound of my own voice.
Yeah, no, how are you keeping, all right?
Good man, thanks. What did you want to say?
No, I honestly think it's about the kids. I would do Secret Santa myself for my brothers and myself. With the 4 of us would do Secret Santa, but
so how does it work with you lot? You buy one present, do you?
We buy one present for one brother each, you know. We do the Secret Santa.
Okay, so do you know which brother you're buying the present for?
No, I wouldn't know.
Okay, so...
Oh, you would know, but they would know who you're buying for.
Yes, no, I get that, yeah. So you will buy a present for Brother A. Brother A will be buying a present for Brother C, and you'll all get one present each, basically.
Yeah.
And does it work well?
It does, it goes well, yeah. You know, it saves us buying 4 different presents. I do agree with the money spending in it, but I think I also think it's about the kids. I have 7 nieces and nephews, and I buy for all of them. It's the excitement in their faces is what Christmas is all about, really.
Yeah, okay.
You know.
Now, as a matter of interest, when does that come to an end?
Well, I suppose when they start turning adults, like they're all still children.
Right, okay, so when they're in their late teens, then you knock that on the head as well.
Well, yeah, kind of. But when they're kids, that's what it's all about. It was for me as a kid. It was 10 presents and the excitement of it all, opening up the presents. And I think people are going off the point. I think it's about the kids more than the adults, you know.
Okay, so you do one Secret Santa thing and then that's it?
Yeah, that'll be good.
Then you buy for the kids as well, yeah.
And my mother and father, of course.
You have to buy for the mammy and daddy.
Of course, yeah.
Of course you do.
It's the most important.
All right, good man, Will. Adam, 6797981 is our telephone number. We're asking, how do you deal with the present issue in your family? Because Orla is a little bit upset because she's been called stingy. She has 2 sisters, 3 brothers, so the 6 of them all together. Every Christmas we buy each other presents and it costs a fortune. And she said, this year I suggested doing a Secret Santa. And the way the Secret Santa works is you buy one present for one chosen sibling and they buy one present for one chosen sibling and you all get one present instead of 5. So you walk away with a more empty car, but it's saving everybody money. Or is it like that message said a second ago, this is just down to pure, utter and total meanness? Lad says this message: when the recession happened, we stopped buying presents for brothers and sisters and only bought it for nieces and nephews. We all put €10 each per child, and each child then gets €50 each from the aunts and uncles. We all combine our money then to get Mammy a present, a special present for our Mammy. Zara, you're on 98 FM. Hiya, Zara.
Hi.
Now, Zara, you have 2 sisters.
Yeah, I have an older sister and a younger sister, and me and my older sister, we both have girls ourselves. So my younger sister will buy presents for her nieces. She won't buy us anything, but we'll buy her a present because she's bought them for the nieces.
Oh, no, I'm confused. Okay, so the younger one doesn't have children, but she buys presents for your children, in return for which you buy her a present, but you don't buy each other presents.
Yeah.
And then when she maybe perhaps goes on to have her own children, you won't buy her a present either, will you not?
No, and like we put a price limit on it, so we tell her she can only send €15 per child, and then the kids will all make cookies for kind of auntie and grandparents.
€15 doesn't buy an awful lot, though, does it?
No, but it buys something. It buys like a little dolly or something.
Does she stick to the €15?
No, she'll spend about 25, I'd say. So,
Right, okay.
So it's just kind of to show her and to show the kids that they're not getting massive presents either. So
Okay, but this idea of adult siblings continuing to buy each other presents, especially when they have their own kids, that's ridiculous, isn't it?
no, and my husband has 3 brothers, so they'll each and they do a Chris Kindle, and they will actually hand each other money, which makes no sense because it just goes around in a circle. But I suppose it's
so. What, he'll hand his brother 50 quid, and his brother will hand the other brother 50 quid. That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So just keep your 50 quid, like. Yeah, that makes absolutely no sense. All right, Zara, every family seems to be a little bit different as to how they organise this. But poor old Orla is trying to save them all money, and she's been told that she's tight. Where am I going now? I am going to Mary. You're on 98FM, Mary. How are you?
How you doing?
So, Mary, how do you deal with this?
I actually start buying as soon as Christmas is over and the sales are on. I start buying, and
for next year.
Yes, I do, because I have a big family and everybody gets something.
So, how many are you buying for?
I have 4 adult brothers and sister-in-laws. I buy those, and I have a sister-in-law in Australia. I buy for her and her 2 children. And I have 8 nephews and nieces. The younger ones get a present, the older ones get money, and I have 2 grandchildren.
So no wonder you're starting in January.
And my husband. And a son-in-law. So I have, yes, I do start early. But everybody, Christmas only comes once a year, and nobody knows. My youngest brother...
And how would you feel if one of your brothers, for example, was to suggest doing a Secret Santa, so you'd all just get one gift?
No, they wouldn't do that.
Why?
I have 7 brothers and I've no sisters. So we all always, it doesn't matter who they are, everyone makes sure they buy somebody something. They wouldn't do that because Christmas, like I said, Christmas only comes once a year.
I'm reading between the lines here that you think that's quite a mean thing to do.
Yes.
Oh. So poor old Orla, there's 6 of them, and she suggested rather than buying 5 presents for her 5 siblings, they do a Secret Santa, so they only end up buying 1 present. That's mean, is it?
Yeah, I don't agree with that. Because like I said, as soon as Christmas is over, I wouldn't be able to afford all I have to buy unless I start.
But isn't that ridiculous, Mary? That you that it's actually costing you so much money it takes you a year to pay for it?
No, because I go into the sales after Christmas and I pick up things and I put them up in the attic, and then when Christmas comes I don't have to worry, and that's one, I don't have to worry about presents. I have it all sorted. I enjoy doing it like that.
But if you're saying your 7 brothers would never suggest it, but if one of them did, would you be shocked?
I would.
Oh.
Yes.
You like getting 7 presents from your 7 brothers?
Well, I don't get it from the 2 older ones. They're out of the equation. They don't bother. But the rest of them, I would be more than surprised. Yes.
All right, Mary. So it's just you're not in Orla's family because you'd call her stingy.
Yes.
Yes, okay. All right, Mary, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, there you go. So Orla, I don't know what to say except you must be in Mary's family. Each to their own, I suppose, but it is a difficult one, and you can see the logic of where Orla is coming from. I've had enough of this buying 5 presents. We could just do. Anyway, thank you very much, Lee, for all of your calls. You're listening to 98FM's Dublin Talks. Andy Clark is on the way, and in the next hour, he's got some great music lined up, like these.
I've been up for 3 nights at the motel. Make you glad you came. The sun goes down, the stars come out.
The sound of the city, from Coolock to Cabinteely.
Dublin Talks.
98FM's Dublin Talk.